S-O-W-E-T-O. Mfana, here we go. Soweto is where I'm from. Soweto, here we go.
When I met Harry last year, I couldn't even tell that he was HIV positive. He speaks confidently, he lives like everybody else, he's free to talk about it, he's overcame the stigma issues. So to me, Harry is an example.
What I did, I've never waited for them to ask me what's happening with my life. I went out and told them about my status. I was brave enough actually to do that. And then until I started my antiretrovirals, and then that's where I started recovering. And then people take me as me.
Hi Harry.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Fine.
Welcome. Harry was living in a shack in Tembisa. The shack had no water, had no communal tap. They were using pit latrine, and he was also using paraffin for cooking and also using the candle for lighting. And that has many negative impacts for a person living with HIV and AIDS.
Hi abono noma urong mfana zero ntwana zesimanje manje sina amakhozi sikhule ngamalozi asina zinduna singa amakhozi sifeva amakhozi awuna choice ngoba si nice so jive thina sithi Soweto.
This area is Mfolo. It's in Soweto, and this is my hometown. And then where we are now, it's my family place, where I'm with my parents. They're still alive. And then I've got other siblings. Yeah, I've got about 6 siblings which I'm living with now. To be honest, in Tembisa it was hard, very difficult, because there I was staying in a shack. Okay, what happened for me to stay in the shack? Actually, for the first 2 days, I was sleeping in the streets, and then the 3rd day, I met somebody, and that somebody was like working in the tavern, and then I explained that I don't have a place to stay. You know, I'm coming from Soweto, and then he said to me, "Okay, fine." So we shared the bed. It was just a small one room, and then I started drinking excessively. I started jolling too much. From there, that would be the ongoing thing. Today is this one, tomorrow is that one, next week is the other one, you know. And then one day, because of I liked reading books, so it came to me when I saw a story which was talking about HIV, and then I looked at the lifestyle that I'm living, and then comparing it to the story that I read, I found that somehow I might be infected. And then that's when I decided to go. Nobody forced me to go and test. I went on my own, and then I waited for my results. You know, it was easy for me to accept before the nurse who was giving me the results. But when I left out of the room, the thing started to say, you know, I'm HIV positive, one day I'm going to die. And then that thing kept on haunting me for quite a long time.
There's a critical relationship between HIV, AIDS, and development. People with poor compromised health need proper sanitation, water, and refuse removal. Local government has a constitutional mandate to provide basic services and environmental health. So it is important that they get the basics right. And getting the basics right means that they have to plan properly and to budget properly in order to make sure that water is provided for, sanitation, and refuse removal. Local government needs to use the IDP to make sure that all departments and functions address HIV-related issues and impacts. And the Department of Local Government has developed a framework for integrated local government responses to HIV and AIDS, which goes together with the handbook, which is an implementation tool used to implement the framework, which was launched in 2007. Both these provide guidance to municipalities on why and how to respond to HIV and AIDS using the handbook. These are the guidelines, and this is the implementation tool. The tools are meant to assist the resource person on how to mobilize and empower relevant groups in the community and in the workplace to mainstream HIV and AIDS. One of the important tools is step 4, which is on mobilizing the community voice of HIV and AIDS, which is very important for people living with HIV and AIDS to act as community advocates on HIV and AIDS. That entails teaching communities about HIV and AIDS, conducting awareness campaigns, going to schools, educating young people on HIV and AIDS and development issues.
But still, the difficult part was I didn't work, I didn't have any money. The shack that I was staying in was not having electricity, so it was very hard. It was very hard. I think that's also what made me to seek worse and worse, because of the environmental situation of having to go and fetch water at distance, and at the same time I'm sick. Sometimes I could not even go, and I'm alone. Sometimes I'll be sleeping for the whole day, and I would end up not eating. Not to say the food sometimes was not there, but because of I couldn't even manage. So the only time that I could eat is only when that guy is there.
While Harry was living in a shack, there was a local clinic. He had to walk 6 to 7 kilometers to the clinic. He was unemployed, not able to buy healthy food, had to depend on food parcels supplied in 3 months from the clinic and not from government. Because of those conditions, Harry became more sick. As a result, his CD4 count went to 1.
Okay, when I left here, I was just fine. So I think I was in Tembisa from 1996. Okay, and then the only time that I went for tests, it's in 1998. So that's when I discovered my status. When I left here, there was nothing wrong. Or either, let me say, I was like never tested when I left here. And there was nothing wrong about issues with HIV and the rest. So the only time that I discovered my status is when I was already in Tembisa. Okay? And then that's when now everything actually happened there until I got sick. And then it was a challenge for me again, to come back home. Because the way I was so deteriorating, even my doctor couldn't help me anymore, because of the only time that I knew about my CD4 count. It's only when I was back home, and attending this clinic called Perinatal Health Research Unit at Para. And the first time when I checked my CD4 count, it was 33. And then it dropped to 27. And then by the time I had to start my antiretrovirals, it was 1. So that's where I started to take my treatment. But unfortunately, before I started my treatment, I got sick. Then I had to be admitted at a hospital, and I stayed, I think, 8 days. I feel. Oh, okay. This is my mother. No. The only person who managed to help me through this cycle is the doctor. Because I was always going to that doctor without paying anything and was trying to help. But he could see that there's nothing happening. I don't progress. So then he decided to ask me if I've got a family. Then I said yes, and then he asked, where is it? I said in Soweto. And then he said, is there any person that he can speak to? He phoned here and he found my sister, and then he spoke to my sister. Now my sister came with my father. I was there, and then they could see that I was sick. And then my sister decided to say, I must pack everything. Tomorrow is